Here's to swimming with them bow-legged women's.
Lately, a lot of people use the acronym GOAT. That's the GOAT, or he's the GOAT, or she's the GOAT. Actually, I don't know if I've ever heard she's the GOAT. Anyway, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. They use it to bestow praise on something or someone. What about the first? The first of all time. Would that be the FOAT? The one that started it all. Well, the big summer blockbuster was started here. This is the one that set the standard. This director was only 27 years old when the movie was made, and it became a worldwide phenomenon. It hit pop culture like a hurricane. I remember going to the theater with my grandmother to see this movie when it came out. And it was a big deal in the coastal town that I grew up in because that's what a lot of us did for fun. We went to the beach. So this movie scared everyone. It's been nice in retrospect to look back, whether it was on video or DVD or Blu-ray or online videos now, to look back on the making of this movie. But for a long time, all we had was just the movie itself. So it was always a favorite, a classic. The movie was based on the book by Peter Benchley from 1974. And I find it interesting that the book came out in February of 74 and filming for the movie began in May of that same year. This famous director, after having read the script, described the story as being about a leviathan preying upon people. I never cared for any of the sequels. It was a perfect example of no need for one sequel, let alone any others. The original film, it was filmed up in Martha's Vineyard, where this shark shows up to terrorize this fictional island community called Amity, which, as you know, means friendship. You were almost 3/4 into the movie before the shark was fully shown, and there was reason for that. When I decided to create the painting, I knew it had to be something very dramatic, but I wanted to surmise the film without just painting a big scary shark. So at first, I considered other ideas, like the boat with the barrels bouncing around, or Quint standing on the plank coming off the front of the boat. I really liked that shot, but I didn't think anyone would know it was from Jaws. I considered painting just a leg floating in the water.
Ew.
No. I decided on the first scene of the movie. I've never read the book, but from what I've heard, the book describes the shark in great detail during the killing of the first victim. But as you know, if you've seen the movie, part of what makes the scene and really introduces the audience to the shark is the absence of the fish itself. And anyone who's ever swam in the ocean knows this feeling of not being able to see what's just below the surface. This concept is terrifying in itself. The director established this mystery by showing the effects of what was happening, but not the real cause of it. It turned out that the mechanical sharks they built and used for the movie were always breaking. So that's part of what forced them to get very creative and not show it as much. This turned out to be a blessing because, as I said, it made everything more frightening. Fear of the unknown, or fear of the unseen. Spielberg and the crew nicknamed this mechanical shark Bruce. The name was taken from the director's lawyer at the time, Bruce Raymer. Coincidentally, this is why the great white's name in Finding Nemo is Bruce. I ended up naming the painting after the first victim. It's very violent in the absence of abstraction, even without knowing the movie, which very few do not. But regardless, it does emote to the viewer something very unpleasant and unsure. Anyone who can relate in any way to the sense of fear of drowning should be able to feel this. It wasn't as important to me to emphasize the time of day, which I believe was super early in the morning. There's a shot right after she goes under where you see the sun peeking up over the horizon. There is a very famous photograph of this scene. During my research for this piece, I came across it several times. You can find it just about anywhere. It's been used for movie posters and different advertisements. Anyway, I did not use the famous photo. Instead, I captured a still shot from the scene and sort of re-originated it.
Painted it and made it my own.
Houston, we have a problem.
There's a specific kind of kinetic energy in the water,
What?
like a blur where the predator meets the prey.
Wait, what?
In this tribute, I wanted to move away from the literal representation and move more towards pure liquid emotion. So I used heavy blues, mostly, and hints of flesh tones on the subject to sort of tether the humanity of the scene. Then, leaning into a deliberate looseness to evoke that primal sense of panic. While this predates my now established angular expressionism technique of my current work, it captured a foundational moment where I realized that a palette knife could cut through a scene just as sharply as a fin cuts through waves.
It was interesting how many times I showed this at different events and people having no idea what it was or what it meant. And half of those people, after I told them exactly what it was and where it came from, would say,
Oh yeah, I remember now.
so I guess for a younger generation, it may just look like a drowning woman not being able to grab onto the buoy behind her.
I rave and rush.